Welcome back, guys. Okay, welcome back. Okay, so I'm just trying to readjust my camera. So I'm just going to wait for people a little bit to join the stream. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start right away. So we're actually, thank you so much. We're actually on this stream before the network. The network got bad, and I had to stop the stream because it was no longer connecting. Dorcas, you're welcome. Good evening. Lillian, you're welcome. So actually, we learned how to cut a tube gown. So this was what we did in the first part. So this is actually the back of the pattern. Okay, so we're about cutting the front before the network went out. So this is like a basic gown. So this gown, you can use it as a tube gown, you can use it as an off shoulder, you can use it as a full gown. So it's just a basic gown. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. All right. So the next thing we're going to do now, I'm going to show you guys how to cut the front part of this tutorial. That's the front part of this dress. Okay. Okay. So Dorcas, I think I already responded to you on WhatsApp. I think so. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start with the front part. So I don't want to waste so much time. We're just going to start straight up, and then I just need to go and rest. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, so the measurement that we used was the bust. The bust is 38, and then the under bust, yes, the bust was 38. Yes, the under bust we used 32, and then the waist is 36, and then the hip is 44. Okay, so those are the measurements we used. So I will just continue. The first thing you're going to mark the shoulder measurement, which is 6.5. That's 13 inches for the full measurement. You divide that into two, you have 6.5, and then you add half of an inch to it for allowance, and then from that point you're going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, and then when you mark that 1 inch, you're going to connect that into the shoulder area that way. The next thing, from that shoulder area you are going to come down by 7 inches. So I already explained that 7 inches, so I'm going to explain it again. Because it is like a sleeveless dress, why 7 inches? You are going to take out 2 inches from your armhole measurement. So the reason for doing that is to make sure, so that it's just to make it that the armpit is not going to be open. So that's just the reason for taking out 2 inches. Normally the armhole supposed to be like, it's supposed to be 9. So I took out 2 inches. So with that, the armpit area is not going to be too open. Okay. So that is that. All right. I'm just trying to check. Okay, Janet. Okay, Dorcas. Yes, I've already responded to that. And then Rishin. Thank you so much. So you take out 2 inches. So the next thing you are going to do, from the midpoint, you are going to come in by like quarter of an inch. Okay, so you see quarter of an inch. So this, even though this is a tube, is not necessary, but with the pattern I'm giving you now, I'm showing you guys how to cut, is a pattern that you can use for your basic dress. Okay, so the next thing, you are going to take out your you're going to check. So before we create our curve, you're going to check your bust circumference. Okay, so 38 inches divide by, I'm just trying to use my head to calculate. So 38 inches, that should be like 8 point sorry, 9.5, I think, thereabouts. So there are some measurement that I don't like. You understand? I like those straight measurements. So 9.5. So that 9.5, I'm just going to mark that 9.5 here like this, and then I'll add allowance to it, okay? And then I'll create my curve. So this is where I stopped it. So I'll just create my curve so that this will help me, do you understand, to mark my armhole depth. Okay, so you just create it up to the bust point. So this one is just like extra allowance. Okay, so the next thing you are going to do, we want to mark out our bust span. So like I said I'm using the shoulder dart pattern for this. So for the bust span I'm using, I'll use 4 inches, which is the nipple to nipple. So I'll just mark it across all of those lines like that, you get. And then I'll mark it till the last line, which is the full length. Okay, and then I'm going to connect this. I'll connect it this way. I'll use my ruler like this the straight ruler. I'll connect it straight. You see my marker. And when I connect it, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this part. Like I said, I'm using the neck dart. So if it is neck dart, the same thing that I marked here, that is what I'm going to mark up here. So my bust span, I'm going to mark it that way. Okay, and then when I mark it that way, I am going to extend it like this. So I will extend it, everything. That's the line is running from the top to the bottom. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to come to my under bust. So this is my chest line, my bust point, under bust, my waist, and then my hip line, and then the full length. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, I'll come to this under bust line. I want to take out my dart. Okay, so like I said we're doing the neck dart. So we're taking out 2 inches. So that 2 inches of that, you are going to divide that 2 inches into the two sides from your under bust part. Can you see? Just mark them like this. And then the next thing you are going to do, you are going to take your ruler like this. Okay, you're going to take your ruler, and then you're going to mark it down. That's just connect it to the down part of your pattern. So I'll connect it down. So I hope you guys can see me. I'll just connect it down. My marker is getting finished. I don't want to go out and go and start looking for marker again. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to connect that part, this part like this. I'll connect it to this bust point line. Can you see? Can you see the way I'm connecting it? It is a simple process. Okay, so I'll just connect it like this to that point like this, and then this one on this side, I'll connect this one also like this. Can you see? That's the inner one. I'll connect it also. So after connecting it also, the next thing, I'm going to come to this top part. I'm going to take out 1 inch to the right hand side of my pattern paper. I'll take out 1 inch, and then I'm trying to see if any other extra marker is here. It's not here in this room, it's in the other room. So I'll mark 1 inch, and then I'll take half inch to the inner one. Can you see? 1 inch to your right, and then half inch to the inner one. And then I'm going to take my pattern curve. Can you see I'm placing my pattern curve? I hope you can see everything clearly. So like I said initially, this pattern is like the easiest, this is like the easiest bustier pattern as a beginner that you can use. Okay, so you just curve that in, and then this one also, you place your pattern curve this way, making sure that you are bringing it, so just mark it this way. Okay, I'm soon going to just use my pencil. So can you see? So I've curved that in. Let me use my artist pencil. I think it will do me a better job than this marker. Okay, so you can see. So that's that. So this is your shoulder, that this is your neck, that bustier pattern for those of you that don't know how to do a neck dart. So this is, like I said, is the simplest and easiest pattern, okay, for you to use. So you take 1 inch to your right and then 1 inch to your left, okay, and then when you do that, you're just going to connect it. So just make sure you connect it. So let me highlight this side properly. Remember that time the our marker was doing anyhow. So you see it, so you mark it, and then this one also. So for this pattern, you can use 2 inches, you can use 3 inches for the dart. Do you understand? But if you are a beginner and you don't know how to achieve a pattern, do you understand? You don't know how to achieve a pattern, that's a curve, use 2 inches, 1 inch to your right and 1 inch to your left. That will help you a whole lot, okay? Yes. So you guys should please like this video. I can see the likes are so small. You guys should please like the video. Just check this side, you see 3 dots, click on the dot, you see the like button, and then you can hit on the like button. Okay, so now let's finish this up. The next thing we want to do, now we want to take out our full measurement. So in taking out that full measurement, remember these 2 inches that we're going to put that into consideration. So I'm going to come to this chest line area. So this chest line area, you people know that we are making a tube top. So what I'm going to do now, I want to extend this line, because if I use this line, can you see this one is 8 inches, so it's going to still come down a little bit. But because I don't want it to come down, I can decide to come up by 2 inches or 1.5 inch. Do you understand? So you can do 1.5 inch, depends on how covered you want your bustier to be. So once I mark it that way, I'll just mark it this way. Do you understand? So this is for the tube part. I hope you guys can see this, okay? So I'll just mark it. So once I mark it, this part, I'm going to tighten this part a little bit more. Do you understand? So I'll still take out like quarter of an inch from the right and then quarter of an inch to the left. The reason why I am doing this is because it is a tube. But if it is not a tube, if I'm making a full dress, that's like a full bodice with this pattern, I don't need to add this. I don't need to do this tightening at this chest area. Please note. So the reason for me doing this tightening at this chest area is because it is a tube. So I've just used this to highlight it. Do you understand? So it will give you that tightness. So it's not going to gape at that area, that chest part. So please note. So that is why. If not, this is not necessary. So this quarter of an inch, or you can use zero, or you can use half inch, or you can use 0.75. Remember that's our that intake. So please note, if you are not cutting this off, that's like if you are not cutting a yoke, you don't need this. You're going to that is already up there. You understand? So I hope you understood. So the next thing, we're going to take out our full body measurement. So for our bust, just like we measured earlier on, so I'm just going to measure my bust, which is 38. So I'll divide 38 into 4. I'll mark it, and then I'll add my 2 inches and 1 inch of that. So that's 3 inches. Remember, I added it on this one before. So I'm just going to repeat that part. I'll just repeat what I have there. Remember this now, because of this, you're going to get a little bit of truncation around here. But because of that allowance you added, you are going to be safe, okay? So the next thing you're going to do, so like I said, this is a very simple pattern for a beginner. This is just like the best pattern for you to start and learn with, okay? And then before you now graduate to shoulder that and then princess that, okay? So the next thing we're going to do, so I'm going to come to this point. So what I have here, I'm just going to bring here, or I'm just going to remark my measurement. I'll mark it, I'll add that. That's my bust circumference divided by 4, and then I'll add my 2 inches that, and then my 1 inch allowance. So please note that. And then I'll come to my under bust and part. I'm using 32 divide by 4. I'll mark that, and then I'll add my 2 inches that. Please note, you need to add that, and then you add your stitching allowance, okay? The next thing I am going to do, I didn't want to do that add and replace, so I could do that add and replace. That's cut this, place it on top, and then cut that out, Okay, so most times I don't like to use that method, but it's still okay if you are learning. If these ones are a little bit confusing, you can use that. The next thing, I'm going to come to the waist area. So the waist measurement, divide by 4, 36 divide by 4, I have 9. I'll mark it and then I'll bring back my 2 inches dart. I'll place it and then add my stitching allowance. I'll mark my stitching allowance and then I'll come to the hip line. Okay, so this is the hip line. I'm using 44 divided by 4, which is 11 inches. I'll mark it and then I'll mark my 2 inches dart and then I'll mark my 1 inch allowance. Okay, and then after that I am going to come to the hem. So I'll just check what I have here. I have 14. I'll place it here. I'll take out 2 inches from it and then I'm going to add 12. So this is what will help you shape your what do you call it? It will help you shape your gown, the down part. Okay, so the next thing, all of those lines now I'm going to connect them like this. So I'll just connect this. Okay, so I'm just trying to highlight my pencil. So the next thing, I'm going to connect this line, this is the waistline, to the hip line. I'll use my curve like this. I'll connect that, and then this part I am going to use this curve like this to connect it. So you can do all of your connections the way that is best for you understand? So the next thing I'm going to do now, this down one, I am going to use this straight part. So and then I'll connect it so you can see. So after connecting, I have a little bit, this part is a little bit sharp, so I'll just place my curve like this and then just blend it. So you can see this is my blouse. You can see it is a simple process. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to cut this up. So for the strap, so like I said, for the strap, you can just make your strap, use 8 inches or 7 inches for your strap. Why 7 or 8 inches? That is what will help it. If you use 5 inches, it's going to be too short. Okay, so I know you might be thinking if it will not affect. No, it's not going to affect because it is a strap. So I'm just trying to cut off my pattern. So for those of you that joined our live stream this evening, I just want to say thank you so much for joining. By God's grace, I'm going to be coming up tomorrow evening again for another live class. I've not been online, so this week I just want to do like back to back live streams. Okay, so you can see the way I am cutting the pattern. So I decided to cut the front. So in case you have not seen the back, like I said, we were on the back pattern. That was what we started with before the network went off. So you can just go and watch the live parts. That's the part one, the first part. That's the back pattern. So this one is the front pattern. So you can see how I am cutting this. So like I said, this is like the easiest bustier pattern that you can learn as a beginner, and it is really nice and it works and it gives you a very good result. So thank you so much for those of you that joined tonight. I'm going to be stopping here, so let me see my messages. So let me see. Thank you so much, all those of you that joined. Happy, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Timeless trends, thank you so much. Wow, you're watching. Thank you so much. You're watching from Abuja. Wow, that's nice. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. I don't. Some names when I see here. Um, Ameti, you're watching from Togo. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, Adon Rako. So where are you from? Like seriously? I am from. I don't. Thank you so much. Say hi, sister Safeki. Bonjour. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Adeleke. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sir Safiko. Thank you so much. Rishin. Hi, I'm Rima. I like and usually your videos. Thank you so much. Janet, thank you so much. Ayogu Dorcas, yes, I have told you. I think I've answered that. Check my your WhatsApp. Janet Swire, you're welcome. Janet, Lillian, Siri, thank you so much. All of you that joined my live class for tonight. I just want to say thank you guys. So this is a project I'm working on. I am so like I said, I was telling you guys I've been very busy. I'm working on some couple of corsets and projects. So you can see, so this one you can see this is a Victorian, like a Victorian bustier and corset. So I'm going to finish that up. So that one, I'm going to be posting the video on Wednesday. I'll start with the pattern drafting of the video, and then this one is the second one. So this one has sleeves, so you can see this one is a beautiful piece. I'm not done with this one yet. It's remaining the just for me to try to wrap up the down part. So and this one has off shoulder sleeve. For those of you, in case you are wondering, as in corset, can it have sleeve? I actually did not film this one. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did not film it. So if there's anybody that will want to see it, you guys can drop it on the comment section. Okay, maybe we can do another video of how to actually sew and add all those sleeves to it. Okay, so thank you so much, all of you that tuned in. So, like I said, this one I'm going to be using this for drapes on it. And I want to say thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow by God's grace. God bless you all. Bye. Lillian Siri, thank you so much. Dorcas, thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless you all.